When we begin our spiritual journeys of inner growth, we discover many things about ourselves, about other people and the world. We uncover the lies that we tell ourselves and others, and the lies that the world tells us. We work on exploring our personalities. We work on improving our personalities as well. And we heal our wounds. We try to make peace with ourselves. We try to make amends with others, and many more other things that go hand in hand with the cultivation of spiritual awakening and self-awareness. These are all very useful practices. And eventually we develop a pretty good understanding of ourselves, of our core wounds and shadow elements, and of our true dreams and gifts. We start to nourish our bodies, we change our diets, create healthy personal boundaries. We cut away toxic habits, and we say goodbye to destructive people and relationships. And eventually develop love and respect for who we think we are. This is all imperative on the spiritual awakening journey. And yet, after all that amazing, transformative progress, chances are you will find yourself facing a familiar dilemma. You will still feel as though something is missing in your life, that you still haven't done enough, that you still aren't enough. But why? Because the spiritual awakening process is a shedding process, and only the first step on the journey to oneness, which I will discuss shortly. We still work to pursue creating an ideal self that always, feels happy and that never suffers and that is consistently at peace. We still work to build and enhance our identities, whether through identifying as vegans or yogis, as healers, empaths, intuitives, Buddhists, spiritual students or teachers, old souls or shamans, and the list goes on, and any other label that we love to collect and embody. And yet we are never happy. We always seek more. We always seek to be more. It's almost as if the quest is never ending. We think that we can defeat the mind by using the mind, but have you ever questioned the validity of this? I mean, who is this that is never satisfied, never happy, never feeling like they are enough? Have you ever asked yourself the following questions? Will I ever be enough? Or will you ever really be enough? I certainly have. The question may seem silly. Of course I am enough. You might think, as I once did, that I am smart, beautiful, intelligent, kind, loving. Of course I'm enough. And yes, of course you are. And to achieve this kind of self-respect is an important part of the spiritual development and growth process, moving away from self-hatred into self-love. But there comes a time after you have cultivated self-love and self-respect where you come to realize something miraculous. And this is that you will never be enough, because who you think you are is not truly who you are. Allow me to say that again. You will never be enough because who you think you are is not truly who you are. All of the memories, all of the beliefs, all of the associations, all of the spiritual and worldly labels, the tastes, the traumas, the loves, the hates, all the insecurities and strengths, they are not truly who you are. And no matter how highly you regard yourself, no matter how popular, liked, celebrated, or lovable you are, your identity remains a burden or a barrier that prevents you from the purest self-realization, which is that you are an expression of oneness. You are the divine. You are the creator. You are source. Your true nature has no name, no form, no identity, and no limits. You are everything and nothing at the same time. And that is what this book, You Are the Creator, is about. It's about an unbecoming, or stripping away every single thing that is not truth. Because the awakening process or experience in most cases does not eradicate these things automatically. It is a shedding process of removing things and not adding. Here are a few very powerful questions you can ask yourself at any moment to help you finally realize and embrace who you truly are. Number 1, am I this emotion? 2, am I this thought? 3, am I this body? 4, am I this personality? And 5, who am I? At first, these questions might sound strange or overly simplistic and even bizarre, but the more self-aware you become of your thought processes which give birth to your feelings and perceptions and assumptions and beliefs about the world, the more you will come to see how closely you identify with all of these elements, all of which are transient and subject to change and therefore not reliable. The more you will be able to identify how they define your identity, and most importantly, then begin stripping them away. When I first started asking these questions, I was immediately uncomfortable and unwilling to completely follow through all the way to the end with such self-inquiry. I thought, if I'm not this emotion, thought, sensation, experience, circumstance, body, and personality, because they are all temporary, then what am I? And eventually I came to the conclusion that I am none of these things, that I am nothing. And because of my dark, miserable associations with the word nothing, I had neglected to ask these questions seriously. But I have since experienced otherwise. I have discovered the truth, which is that being nothing is paradoxically being everything. Being empty of your fabricated identity and personas is basically being completely full and whole again, full of the divine. Far from being void, the nothing is existing in a state of rest, of eternal peace and profound freedom and liberation. And once you investigate the truths of the question, who am I? You come to a fascinating realization that you are not who you think you are, what you assume you are, what you've been taught you are, what you have come to believe you are, and you never have been. Because all of these things are temporary and passing, yet your essence, still remains